What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Black Professionals Project. My name is Kenton Hipsher. If you don't know by now, I am the CEO and founder of the nonprofit, and our mission is to educate and inspire Black and Brown youths by exposing them to careers via Black and Brown professionals. Here today, we have an excellent, strong, Black professional, female to add on top of that, come on in here now, Miss Aneisha.
I feel like I had to look around to see somebody else.
Miss Aneisha, thank you for coming onto the platform. We really appreciate it. Will you inform everybody what your profession and what your industry is?
I am a talent acquisition manager within the biopharmaceutical industry. So that's more of the new school way to say it. You may be familiar with it as a recruiting manager, staffing manager, but basically I hire people within the biopharma industry, specifically in the pharmaceutical sales and medical device space.
Gotcha. Look at that. A boss lady. Hey, living your truth. Come on in here now. Don't let them stop your shine. So once again, thank you for coming on. It's going to be really good to share with people, a little bit about the recruiting process and how that all works and kind of get an inside scoop because, most of us spend our time as the recruitee and not the recruiter. So it's nice to get a little bit about what your life is like so that us as the recruitee, we can make your life a little bit easier. And hopefully you will inspire some young Black and Brown individuals to want to pursue a career like this where they can really help impact and change people's lives.
Absolutely.
So the first question I want to get into here is, can you describe your ethnicity and where you are from?
I am Black, African American, however you want to say it. I was born in LA, raised in Dallas, still live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Hey, West Coast. Okay. I'm out here on the West Coast. I'm in NorCal instead of SoCal, but it is what it is. Still Cali.
Still Cali.
That's dope. So you started on the West Coast and then moved out to the South, where the food is good and the land is a little bit cheaper, depending on where you
Way
at.
cheaper.
But I love it. I love it down there. I've always had a great time. My best friend lives down in Texas, and I used to live in Atlanta. So, the South is where it's at, if you're asking me. I live in the West Coast now for professional reasons, but let me tell you, if them checks come right in the South, I'm going to be back down there in the heat.
Well, you're a CEO now. You can make it happen. Yes, it is hot.
Yes, that it is. But hey, it's a nonprofit. So, I'm not taking any dollars off the top here. I'm just doing this all for y'all for free. I'm coming up with my own time, giving y'all a little bit of the freebie, okay? So thank you for y'all attention. And I hope that y'all like, comment, and subscribe to the channel so that you can see all the episodes that we will have to show you guys and all the Black professionals willing to extend an olive branch and share their story with you. So speaking of that, let's get into your story a little bit. So as a talent acquisition manager, what's a typical day in the life like for you?
So for me, I am field-based. So what that means is typically I'm covering a specific part of the country. A lot of times people think with staffing, you just post a job, people apply, somebody great will come along, you hire them. Yes and no, that happens, but really a lot of the effort goes into finding that passive talent, the folks who, may have the skills that you're looking for, but they aren't necessarily out there on the LinkedIn job boards, Monster, wherever, actively applying. So for me, part of my day is sourcing, networking, looking for potential candidates through social media channels, primarily LinkedIn, and interviewing. Now that everything is virtual interviews. Prior to that, meeting people out in person, traveling within my territory, doing interviews and prospecting candidates.
Ooh, so you get to meet a lot of people, which is great. Everybody's different, so you get a little bit of variety in your day-to-day interactions. And the downside to that being right now, you can't really be out in the field because you're not trying to get the Rona. You got your mask on, you're at home, you staying safe, taking care of your family, the most important thing. But what would you say are, a couple of things that get you excited about your career and what it is that you do?
What gets me excited is you literally do have the opportunity to change someone's life sometimes by helping them get that opportunity and get that foot in the door. And, I pride myself on spending a lot of time coaching candidates. If I'm having more than one or two interviews with you, by the time we get to the second one, it's not a question of can you do the job, it's can you convince everybody else that you can do the job. So that's one of the things that I'm proud of, that I get a lot of good feedback from candidates on, that I actually take the time to really try to prep them, because most people don't, but there are tricks to the trade. You can be perfect for a job, and because you don't know how to sell yourself, or because you don't know how to successfully navigate behavior-based interview questions, you can blow it and you cannot get the job. So that's one of the things that excites me when people come back to me and say, hey, thank you so much. You really helped me, and you really helped me nail it and help me convince the next person in the process and help me close the deal.
Thank you so much for doing that work. It is really important to help people because, sometimes people they're just unaware of how
you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly. They're just unaware of how to navigate the process. Maybe they're new, or maybe they're experienced, but they've been working so long that they haven't been in the job search.
Yes, and a lot has changed.
A lot has changed for sure. As a person who was just in the job search, I know that it's been pretty difficult to try to figure out, tricks of the trade, what to do, what not to do. But people like you help make our lives easier. And I am thankful for that. And I know a lot of other people are thankful for that, even if you may not hear it all the time.
People aren't always grateful, though. Some people don't like to hear the feedback.
Well, one thing that I really like about you, and I've liked this since I met you, is you're very honest with people. You're not afraid to tell them, how you feel or what that person may look like or come off as on paper versus in person. You and I met at a networking event last year, and I was so excited to get into the room and meet people. And I just remember you giving me like little tips and tricks saying like, you have everything you need here in terms of paper, but, specifically in this area, you need to emphasize these things. And doing that really helped me turn around the way I was approaching things and even got me an offer then. So, tell me
that.
Hey, like I said, I leave it all on the camera. I want it to be raw.
I didn't know that.
Yes, I did. I ended up getting an offer from that networking event. Actually, after talking to you, I had an interview with somebody, on the spot interview, actually, just because I started emphasizing those things that you were saying.
I'm so proud.
So there you go. A real life, real time example of how you are making an impact in people's lives. Now, even though it's great and, you do have this variety and you're able to coach people, what would you say is a couple obstacles that you face in your day-to-day role?
Day-to-day role or career-wise?
In your career, excuse me.
I would say for me personally, I think the biggest one would be not finishing my degree sooner. I was that kid in high school. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew that going off to a 4-year wasn't my path. I don't know how I knew that, but I just knew that wasn't my path. And I watched all my friends get ready to go off. And I told you my best friend went to Clark. I even went to visit Clark with her, and her dad was like, "You want to go?" I was like, "No." But I didn't know. So I did start out, I entered the workforce after high school, started taking classes. I fell into HR pretty quickly. And I think for me, I should have finished my degree sooner. I'm finishing it now. and I've been blessed to build this career in spite of not having it, but I think I would be a lot further if I had completed. But I say things happen in perfect timing because the times and technology have had the time to catch up. Now, when you look at HR jobs, staffing jobs, you see that they will specifically ask for a degree in HR. That wasn't always the case because a degree in HR wasn't something that always existed. But now HR has become more of a business savvy role, and there are colleges out there that offer it. So I would say that's number one, finishing my degree. Number two, I would say bias and racism. My name is Aneisha Johnson. You know, before you open my application that I'm a Black woman. At one point in my career, when I was searching, I knew, I was like, nobody's calling me because they see the name Aneisha. I was like, so let me change it and see what happens. I even adjusted some of my resume and kind of downplayed some of, what I had done. The minute I changed my name to a racially ambiguous name, phone started ringing off the hood. So I think that's part of it as well. It is what it is. We're all having the conversations right now about bias, diversity, and inclusion. But being a Black female certainly is something that has been a challenge. And just having people see my name and know that, okay, I'm about to click right on past you. I don't care what's going to be. I'm not even going to look at your resume. So I would say that. And lastly, I am, as you said, I'm pretty transparent. It is hard for me not to be. There are a lot of politics that happen in corporate America. It's draining. It's exhausting. I'm one who's going to speak up. I'm one who's not going to go along to get along. And I'm certain that as a result, that has probably limited my career in some aspects, but it is what it is. I can, I'm me. That's who I am. And so I would say those three things: degree, bias that we all face, and then just not being so savvy at playing the game, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. But that's important that you are living in your truth and being honest to who you are, because at the end of the day, you have to come home to you. You don't have to come home to them. So you have to be the person to sleep with yourself at night and deal with yourself.
Absolutely.
So I completely commend you for being that person, and, standing up for yourself and your beliefs.
And it's not even always just for me. Like I'm just not one that can sit back when I see something happen to somebody else. I'm like, that's just, you don't treat people like that. And in HR, you see a lot of stuff, and you see people's livelihood get played with sometimes, and I'm not saying that's happened at anywhere I've worked right now, but you've seen that. I've seen it at previous jobs, and it's just like, it's frustrating because you're literally playing with somebody's livelihood, and that's just something that never sits well with me.
Mm-hmm. I completely understand that, and I'm just so thankful to have, have people like you out there who are willing to take a chance and, be bold. And I think that's something that a lot of people are afraid to do, and that takes a lot of courage. So kudos to you for doing that. Now you mentioned that, one of the things that you feel like was an obstacle for you was not finishing your degree earlier. So can you describe your education and sort of your academic track of how you got to where you are today?
So I graduated high school. I'm still in pursuit of my degree right now. Pray for me. But I also have done my professional certifications along the way. So I have my PHR. I have my CIR, which is a ADP Air certification specifically for recruiters. And I'm actually studying for the SPHR right now. So that was one of the things that was important to me as well. I said, okay, I don't have my degree. What else can I do to show that, hey, I know what I'm doing. I'm committed to this field, and get my PHR was the first step of that. And I think I did that in 2013? So yeah.
Okay. And what is a PHR, just for those of you who are not aware?
Professional in human resources, and then the SPHR is a senior professional in human resources.
Gotcha. And these are
GPHR, global professional. There's one for international. There's all kinds of certifications, but those are the most widely known.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah, because I am not aware of these things. So I'm just trying to think,
I tell people it's basically like the equivalent of like a CPA for an accountant. The PHR to an HR professional is what the CPA is to an accounting professional.
Gotcha.
I think for the CPA, you go through probably a lot more. I think you have to go through multiple tests for the CPA.
Okay. Gotcha. That makes more sense now for me. I can start to connect the dots in my head. So, we talked about the ups. We talked about the good parts and the bad parts. But really, I always ask people, what gets you out of bed in the morning that makes you want to do this career? You mentioned, really impacting and changing people's lives, but is there anything else in addition to that?
Well, I think the thing that motivates all of us is room and board, food and shelter.
Talk about it.
Having a family to take care of, kids, the dog just got her teeth cleaned. But outside of that, for me, it's I see a bigger picture. It's not something I share with a lot of people, but I have aspirations beyond this. I don't think corporate America will be the final stop for me, but I have aspirations that still tie into my passion in the HR space and the staffing space, as well as some other things that I want to do. So that's what gets me out of the bed, because the things that I do now, they're things that will help me in the long run when I get to that next step in life.
Okay. That's great. I mean, if you don't have big goals, right, then what are you working towards? Are you just working to work? Are you
working to work?
You gotta get something to get you moving now. You can't be out here just floating.
You know what? I think about it like, I think somebody asked Oprah why she never had kids, and it was around the time she started her school in Africa, and she made a comment along the lines of what she was doing with that school, but she was able to help far more people, generations. And I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember the exact quote. I think about my goals post-corporate America in that same aspect. The things that I want to do still tie into what I do now, but it's something that I think would be further reaching and would help far more people.
Mm-hmm. Well, I look forward to you realizing those goals and making them realities and not just dreams and ambitions. And I know you will do that because you're a very strong and determined person. So I'm excited to see what comes from Miss Johnson next. So one thing I want to think about whenever I talk to professionals or just think about careers in general is what are some of the misconceptions that people have about talent acquisition or recruiting that you've seen and experienced?
I think within HR in general, people don't understand how broad HR is. Or people will say, oh, I want to get in HR because I like people. You definitely don't have to like people to be in HR. As I touched on earlier, HR is really much, or should be much more strategic now. So, it's no longer the function of, we plan the birthday parties and the anniversary lunch and the holiday party. Yeah, they can do that, but it's much more focused and strategic. Within HR, you have benefits, compensation, labor relations, employee relations, recruiting, compensation. There are many different facets to HR. You can be a specialist in one area and not touch any other area. Yes, I have my HR certification. Please don't ask me to administer your benefits because somebody is going to be in trouble. That's my wheelhouse. That's not my expertise. Have I touched other things outside of HR? Yes, I've done employee relations. I've done some generalist stuff, but my experience and what I focus on is recruiting. So understanding that there's many different facets to it. I would say that's probably one of the biggest misconceptions. Within recruiting, I think the thing that's really probably frustrating for me, and I see this with a lot of folks, especially with conversations on LinkedIn, people don't know the difference in types of recruiters. So I would be considered a corporate recruiter because I am only working on positions for my company.
Okay.
And there would be what you consider an agency recruiter who they work for a staffing agency or some type of firm, and they may be recruiting for a variety of companies. And then you have like headhunters, which are typically thought of as the people who will say, hey, give me your resume, and if you pay me, I'll help you find a job. So there's different types of recruiters, and people don't get that, and they lump us all in, and it makes for frustration for everybody. Lastly, I would say I think a lot of times recruiting is downplayed, and a lot of times you'll see people think, oh, well, anybody can do recruiting. You post a job, people apply, you pick somebody and boom, it's done. I mean, in theory, yes, there's a lot of administrative work that goes into recruiting, but the best recruiters are extremely strategic. It's not just about what we call post and pray, post and pray the right person applies and I can move on from there. Especially now, there's just so much more that you can do with trying to attract talent. It truly goes far beyond that. So I would say those.
Gotcha. Yeah, I have a lot of questions in my own personal experience that I want to ask, but I will keep it professional and keep it to the questions we have discussed.
Okay, we have to do an Ask a Recruiter series.
We do. We can do an Ask a series. I'm all for it. Please share. So with that, we are pretty much at the end of our questions that I have for you. The last question that I ask everybody is, do you have any pieces of advice for young Black and brown youths out there who may want to follow in your footsteps or may want to pursue a career that's similar to yours?
That's hard to answer because nobody ever wakes up and says, okay, I want to get in HR. Now it's more known now. And, like I touched on earlier, now they actually have degrees for HR. I would say, kind of to piggyback on the last question, understand where you want to go. If you say you want to be in HR, figure out what that looks like. Do you want to be a generalist where you touch a little bit of everything, but you're master of none? Or do you want to be a specialist where you maybe only focus on benefits or you only focus on recruiting? It really helps to know where you want to go. And I always tell people, look at job descriptions, because that will help you kind of get an idea, especially with HR, because you look at job descriptions and that will tell you which components this HR role focus on. A generalist role could be, okay, you focus on employee relations, recruiting, and benefits. Or it could be, you need to be able to negotiate with labor unions. You need to be able to handle all the compensation adjustments and make sure that we are in range. It could be a number of things. So I would say that's one way. And pick up the phone and talk to people. Maybe not pick up the phone, but go on LinkedIn and find people who are doing what it is that you think you want to do and reach out to them and talk to them and find out how they got in there. And then I also tell people, if you have a good idea while you're still on your path of education, if you can find an internship, that will make all the difference for you. That it really will. If you can find an internship doing whatever it is that you want to do, that's what will really help you get a foot in the door post-college.
Yes. Yes, for sure. And a lot of internships nowadays are paid. So you don't have to do this work for free.
Not only are they paid, they are actual, learning experiences. I know I told you offline I did campus recruiting at one point, and they were great opportunities. I mean, you actually get paid and you actually get an opportunity to learn and do the work that you're going to school for, to see how do I apply what I'm learning to what I would actually do if I worked for this company doing this role. So absolutely, internships are no longer, come here for free and make coffee and copies. There are internships out there where the goal is, if you intern with us and we invite you back for another summer or the next summer, we want to snatch you up. We want to make you a job offer so that once you graduate, you have a plan and you're not sitting biting your nails waiting on Sally Mae to call you for her money. So, yes.
Yes, you said it best. I mean, internships really are, they're like direct paths to a potential opportunity for you. And it really doesn't, I shouldn't say it doesn't matter. It does matter what you know, but it's almost more important of who you know.
Absolutely.
So keep that in mind, guys, and make sure you're utilizing your networking abilities to the best of your abilities. As she said, because you can gain a lot from a 5-minute conversation from somebody rather than spending 2 hours on Google getting information from God knows where.
May not even be accurate.
Exactly. So just be courageous, be bold, reach out to people, and be respectful, and you'll get the energy that you put out back to you. And so with that, I want to thank Mrs. Johnson again. We appreciate you coming on to the platform.
Thank you.
It has been an amazing experience talking with you, and of course, just interacting with you beforehand. It's always a fun time talking to you, and I feel like I always get something out of it. So I hope that we can give back to you and give you something from this as well. Is there any closing statements or shout outs that you want to give? Shout out to the dog, to the kids, to the cats, or whatever.
West Side? No. No, I thank you so much for creating this platform. I appreciate you for inviting me on and uplifting me with that story. Thank you for sharing. I didn't know that. I didn't know that you ended up getting a job offer. There was somebody else I knew there who got a job offer. So that's always great to hear. I'm always open to people reaching out on LinkedIn. Be specific when you reach out. I'm always happy to talk to people and help however I can. I get a lot of messages, but I try to get back to everybody when I can. So if anybody sees this and wants to reach out, you can find me on LinkedIn.
Hey, there it is. You heard it from the professional herself. Network. It will take you far.
Yes.
And so with that, I will look to the camera as I always do and remind you guys once again, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any episodes or any potential stories or careers that could be of interest to you.
Do it right now.
Do it right now. Do it right now. Right now, you can click like, comment, drop us a little link, and what you
all
do,
around,
all around, just make sure that you comment. Let us know if you like my tie or if you like her glasses. Maybe she'll send you a discount code or somewhere. You don't know what could happen. But
some sponsorship deals here now.
Hey, we're working on it. We're working on it. Don't worry about it. It's coming. It's on the way. But make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Black Professionals Project. We want to appreciate and thank Miss Aneisha Johnson again. And I have been Kenton Hipsher, and we will see you guys next week for another episode.